Pop Culture Pastor.
Kansas City, here I come. What's up, Cody?
I don't want to go to Kansas City.
We're back. It is weird, even though we know Ted is from Kansas City. It is weird to see him in his natural habitat.
It is.
Even though we knew that that's where this show had to start.
I didn't.
Before we get into that and Cody's complaining, let's tell you that this is Pop Culture Pastor Watch-Alongs. My name is Dave. Cody is here.
I am present.
And this is a new season of Watch-Alongs, and we are watching Ted Lasso Season 4.
Theodore.
And Season 4 of Ted Lasso, let's just get right out in the open, Cody. In broad terms, this is weird, because the show, for all intents and purposes, ended. That was their plan. That was their intent. They ended it, and many people came back to the table and said, we want more. Not unlike the story that's playing out in this first episode.
So, soft relaunch.
Kind of, yeah. It's such a weird thing they have to do, and I'm not sure it sat right with everybody, including, I think, you. Tell everyone what your broad feelings of this first episode was.
It was an episode? But no, it just had, it drug. And it did have the Ted Lasso moments and quotes and some of the familiar faces, and loved how confusing some aspects of the location was for some people. But in the pantheon of Ted Lasso episodes,
right,
this is towards the bottom of the barrel.
I don't think you're wrong. I do think this episode, among all Ted Lasso episodes, except for maybe the pilot, has a lot of heavy lifting to do because of what they have decided to do. By ending the show, then bringing it back, you have a time jump. You have to somehow, through the course of the story, give exposition for where the major players of this show are at, which there's a lot of them, as it turns out, Cody. We don't even get them all this episode.
No.
Because, they just literally can't do it and stuff it into a 35 to 40 minute episode.
Football is no longer life.
Football is always life in the Ted Lasso world, Cody. And we're going to see that here in season 4, episode 1, titled Home. So let's get into it. I'll give my overall reaction along the way, I'm sure. But we start off at Fouch's Fine Foods. It's a grocery store.
It is.
We open roughly 3 years after Ted got on that plane to go home. He's now the assistant manager at a Kansas City grocery store called Fouch's.
That's a choice.
It's fictional. But also, Cody did mention in the opener there, many, many jokes this episode about how Kansas City is a city that's on the border of 2 states. It overlaps. And there is a Kansas City, Kansas, and there is a Kansas City, Missouri, and the word Kansas is in the name of the city, which is confusing.
Most everything's on the Missouri side of life.
It's true. Most everything cool, except for soon to be the Chiefs football stadium.
Yeah, take that, Missouri.
Is on the Kansas City or the Missouri side. But yeah, so Ted is working in a grocery store. We see his name tag. He's got the assistant manager gig. And he's doing exactly what he did at Richmond, actually, Cody. We see him pouring into the people around him. Same old Ted. He's just doing it with groceries instead of sports.
That old lady didn't need that many ciggies.
No. The show's opening statement is kind of clear. Ted didn't stop being Ted, but he did stop being a coach. And we're going to explore in this episode if that's a big deal. And it sets up the central theme of the episode. Ted is still Ted, but when we intentionally stop doing something, or something that people would say is our calling, something we were born to do in life, how does it affect our identity and our happiness? That's sort of the theme of what's being explored here. And we get a lot of little clues in this episode that Ted is not super content, not super fulfilled in life. And he's I would describe it as he's just a little off. He's Ted, but he's just a little.
That's how I describe this episode.
Special shout out, as Cody mentioned, to Miss Halpern, who in this scene is clearly on oxygen and buying mini packs of Marlboro Reds.
It's a thing.
That is something you would witness in Kansas at every convenience store / grocery store in the area. She does say, "Don't you worry, Teddy. If I die, the cats know what to do." That is macabre.
Very.
During this scene, we see a coworker of Ted's, a young man by the name of Tyler, and he's pocketing cigarettes. Checks to see if anyone's looking. And rather than tell on him, Ted stages this kind of elaborate bit in Ted fashion, where he starts, he rushes into like the locker room area of the employee room in the grocery store, and he starts pulling stolen items out of that tucked into his clothes, razors, a bag of Pup-Peroni. And he explains, "Hey, I saw Oliver and Aladdin growing up. They made stealing look cool. So now I'm addicted." And he says he isn't afraid of getting caught because of his white male privilege. Which, yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was. And also, then a voice comes over the loudspeaker calling Ted to the manager's office, and Ted feigns shock and fear and asks Tyler to put everything back, including the cigarettes he stole. Then he'll smooth it over with the boss, and he walks off with, because I can't go back to prison, and gives him this weird fist bump.
So there were people that did not like that scene.
Yeah. What? Tell me your reaction to that, because I saw a lot of chatter online that was not in Ted's character, and I couldn't disagree more.
I was like, clearly he is doing this to teach this young man a lesson. It's not, "Oh, I really stole this and I'm concerned about going back to prison." No, like, this is definitely within the Ted Lasso gambit of what he will do to teach people. It felt like lead tasso.
Yeah, right. And I will explain my stance on it here in a second when he talks to the manager. But first, we got to talk about this other thing, because on his way to the manager's office, he gets stopped by a young man with a baby strapped to his chest, which is definitely not an elaborate fanny pack.
Nope.
And the guy calls him Coach. And this guy is Joe Conrad, former player from Wichita State. Ted immediately rattles off his stats from memory. All-American, all-conference, and all-around good guy. Yeah, in complete Ted fashion. Because, of course, Ted knows his stats.
Yes.
Ted explains that he moved home to be closer to his son and help him become the best version of himself. Joe immediately replies, "Just like you did for all of us, Coach." And so you get this feeling of like, yeah, this is Ted. This is his impact on people. Then Joe's wife shows up.
The stand-in for all of us.
And she's extremely confused that Joe's role model for life works at a grocery store.
Yep.
Ted makes a joke about how he works part-time, but he uses the store discount full-time because it takes a buttload of PB&J Uncrustables to play video games all weekend. And as Ted walks away, there's this funny little bit where Joe asks his wife if he can get a PlayStation. Now, it's played for laughs, but there is a little subtle thing that the show's telling us there, that as a role model, we don't get to pick and choose what parts of our lives serve as the model. So Ted came back for his son, but he stopped living in a certain phase of his life, and that should not go unnoticed to us viewers. And I thought that scene was a brilliant little, that end of that scene was a brilliant little thing to show us, like, hey, that line's funny, but also look at the impact he had on Joe.
Yes.
Just from a little joke he made about playing video games all weekend, which I'm certain he doesn't. Maybe.
He might with his son.
By the way, special shout out to friend of the pod, Jenny, who's in the background of this scene. You remember Jenny?
I do.
She made us dinner when we went to Planet Comic-Con at KC. She's literally in the background of this scene. We can see her behind Joe in the frozen food aisle. And she's an extra. She's an actress, and she's doing some grocery shopping.
As one does.
So shout out to Jenny. That was awesome. Ted finally gets to the manager, Ronnie Fouch, who tells Ted that Henry got in some kind of trouble at school today and he needs to go talk to the principal. And Ted says, hey, I need to duck out. And Ron, before he leaves, says, you want to tell me why I saw you stealing a bunch of stuff on the security cameras? And Ted explains that I'm sorry, won't happen again because Tyler, quote, set me straight. Now, this is the part where, yes, people were reacting to this online saying it was out of his character. I respectfully disagree, because if we remember Beard's story that he told to Nate when he's forgiving Nate, Beard said that Ted went to the police station after Beard stole his car and then lied to the police.
Yes.
So that he wouldn't get in trouble. So this is clearly something Ted does.
It is, and also it is kind of enough shock value to set Tyler straight.
Yeah, exactly. See, Ted's interested in results and change, not reciprocity and punishment.
Yeah.
Which we see a little bit later on with Henry's soccer coach. We'll get to that. There is a little Easter egg here. The manager is none other than the Ronnie Fouch, who appears in a Tedism in season 1 as being the kid on the playground you never accept a Butterfinger from because it was definitely poop. And we know that because Ron is eating a Butterfinger as Ted walks away. So just a little sight gag callback.
Hopefully it is just a Butterfinger.
Not poop. Ted shows up to the school and him and Michelle are waiting for the principal. They're confused on why they could be there. Clearly Henry's in a better place than where we saw him in season 3. The principal walks in, the concern dripping off this dude. I don't know who this actor is, but he was great in this little part. Ted hilariously reacts to his offer of tea that Michelle has to redirect him on. And the principal finally gets to the heart of the matter. A teacher found some very disturbing poetry in one of his notebooks, Cody.
I was disturbed by it.
And as the principal painfully starts going through the poem, Michelle and Ted begin to react and mime along and say the words with him, because clearly this is the lyrics to a Public Enemy song called Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos. You might be a little young for the Public Enemy, Cody.
I might not be.
Yeah, you might not. We'll never know.
Yeah.
You'll never know. Cody's not telling.
I'm not.
Can't trust it. No. Okay, anyways, I was a big fan of Public Enemy. Michelle and Ted can barely contain their laughter throughout the scene. It's kind of funny. The principal's over the top dramatic about it. But as they talk in the parking lot, Michelle notices that Ted's distracted by a soccer game nearby. And she kind of redirects him. He apologizes. And then she refers to him as coach, which I think, again, is this show is really good about putting in these little things about letting you know where a character stands and that they see something without spelling it out for the viewer. She's clearly worried about him. We'll see that other characters are clearly worried about him and know something's not right. Ted pulls up to his home in his car. This is another funny little America, Kansas bit, I would imagine, because the Brits are there waiting. Rebecca, Keeley, and Higgins, they're parked outside, and they get out as he's pulling up, and he pulls into his garage and shuts the garage, and they're very confused because I don't think garages are a thing in England. And so it's super weird for him to pull in and the door shut, and they're just like, what's happening right now?
Did he not see us?
But he does. He's like, hey, he sees them from the inside. He comes running out the front door and pleasantries are exchanged. And before we know it, Ted is taking them all out for barbecue, which I believe is Gates. They don't make it super clear at the beginning.
It is Gates.
Yeah, you see bags later on.
Yes.
Gates barbecue.
Also, the way the staff interacted.
Yes.
Especially when they first get up to the line.
Mm-hmm. So the Brits get their first taste of our Midwestern cuisine. And Ted sets up a game that is meant to give us exposition, the exposition necessary to know what all the characters are up to currently. Like, tell me what you've been up to in, 5 seconds?
10 seconds without mentioning work.
Yeah. And Keeley can't do it because, of course, everything we're meant to know about Keeley is about what she's doing work-wise. But finally, after we kind of go around the table, Higgins
is done eating ribs.
Yeah, funny played for laughs is he's stuffing his face with ribs the whole time. But Rebecca, Keeley, and Higgins lay out the offer, the reason they're there. AFC Richmond is forming a women's team, and they want Ted to come coach it. She says, Rebecca says, last time I hired you for all the wrong reasons. Now I want to hire you for the right ones. Yeah. And Ted, again, Jason Sudeikis, I'm afraid we don't give him enough credit for the subtlety in his acting that he can bring, because he's much like the character of Ted Lasso, where we can clearly see he's receiving the offer. He feels pleased that they're offering it to him, honored, but also that there's something weighing on him. And I think he plays that real well.
Give me the night.
He doesn't say yes. He doesn't say no. He stalls, but he invites them to Henry's soccer game later on. We get a short scene with Rebecca and Matish, I think is how you say his name.
The flight guy.
I looked it on the subtitles and it's like M-I-T or M-A-T-I-I-J. I mean, it's weird. No idea how to say that. She says Modish or something like that. Anyways, yeah, it's the pilot. She met in Amsterdam back in season 3. So cool to see that they are clearly in a committed relationship and that Rebecca's in a good place.
Yes.
And we find that, they've been close for a while. So yeah, it's good. It's a good thing.
Barbecue sauce is staining everything.
Yeah, she's ongoing joke. She's dripping barbecue sauce on her clothes. Higgins shows up afterwards to tell Rebecca that a women's team back in England has folded, and it presents kind of the conflict of this whole endeavor that they're embarking on, it being something they really want to do, but maybe not understanding how it's going to be financially sustainable for AFC Richmond, or maybe they're in the entire league.
Yes.
The entire thought of it. Hilariously, throughout this scene, they're setting up important information for the season, but Rebecca is also eating these barbecue leftovers while Higgins is clearly suffering from indigestion from the barbecue. He's like, I don't know how you play indigestion as an actor, but he did it perfectly.
Indigestion and jet lag.
Yeah. We go to Henry's soccer match, and as Ted is driving Henry to the match, he reminds him of his one rule about hip hop, which is, I can hear all the words, I just can't say all the words. And Ted is going to add one more, I cannot write all the words either.
Yes.
So Ted mentions that the Brits are here to watch him play, and the boy, Henry, kind of digs for the bigger reason that they're in town, and Ted admits that they offered him a job. Henry asks, are you going to take it? Ted says no and immediately changes the subject, but you can tell the boy, who, by the way, is played by a new actor. And I'm assuming it's because they are asking more of him as an actor. Because in this scene, you can tell the kid is very interested in the answer and maybe doesn't get the answer he's looking for.
Although this kid looks like he's 15.
Yeah, he's way too old to be a graduate of elementary school, which is what they say he is. But he's played by Grant Feely, and I think he does a good job in this scene. We get to the field, and we're introduced to Henry's soccer coach, who is the worst.
He has some room to grow.
Yeah. And Dottie's back. Dottie Lasso sits with the rest in the stands and teaches Keeley the finer points of pickleball.
And the importance of a good seat cushion.
Yeah, the tush cush, as she calls it. Meanwhile, Henry makes a mistake on the pitch after he scores, by the way. He scores rather easily, by the way.
Because he is older than all the kids.
Yeah, we're clearly meant to see that Henry is a budding, young, good soccer player. Michelle, sitting next to Ted quietly, says, they offered you a job, didn't they? And you could tell Michelle is excited, kind of the same way Henry was, but then disappointed when Ted says he's not going to take it. She immediately says, why? And he kind of mumbles something. She says, Ted, do you want to take that job? He says, no. And she says, Oklahoma, which, if you remember, is the code word that Ted has to be honest. And he says, I don't know. And we get to see Ted's conflictedness, and that Dottie notices that all this going down as well. As we know, Dottie Lasso will get involved.
Any chance she gets.
Meanwhile, Henry makes his mistake on the pitch after scoring, and his coach yells at him and takes him out for the rest of the game. And even kind of throws an insult at him as he's walking to the bench. Like, sit down, Mbappe. Which, he was trying to pass. So I'm not sure how risky and how, that's clearly a good thing to try and pass the ball, not try to do it all yourself. I don't know if we're meant to notice that he's trying to pass the ball, but
I notice.
Ted approaches the coach in the parking lot and begins to do his thing where he's killing him with kindness, and the doofus coach stops him short and he says, "Ted, you're a coach, so I know you get it." He says, "Get what?" "How annoying it can be when parents meddle in their kids' business."
It would have been at that point that I would have said, "Sorry, I coached in college in the pros."
Yep. Well, I think you're supposed to see that this dude's ridiculous.
Yes.
But Ted hilariously instead references Beyonce's mom, but graciously. We get Rebecca and Keeley shopping in the plaza in Kansas City.
Yeah.
It's an upscale shopping place there in Kansas City. We get a funny sequence of them clothes shopping at Dazzle Me Moi.
No, thank you.
And I thought it was sweet that like the owner of the shop is this over the top. Like, look, anytime they show Midwestern people, side note, if you haven't listened to this podcast long, Cody and I are from Kansas. We live in Kansas. And we know that when they show us on the big screen or the little screen, they're going to be kind of over the top with the accent.
I was like, is she from deep in the heart of Texas?
I did think it was very sweet how smitten Rebecca and Keeley are with her, calling her beautiful.
Yes.
Even though she's a very boisterous personality. And I thought that was a very cool thing. And Jason Sudeikis is probably also being a Kansan, well aware of how we're often depicted on screen.
I would hope so.
Rebecca tries to tell Keeley about the bad news of the other women's team back home, but gets interrupted. Meanwhile, Higgins sets out for the Jazz Museum, but it's closed today. And he ends up at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum instead.
It was at that point I was like, I've been there.
Yeah, right? He learns about the barriers that black players faced before integration and about players whose accomplishments got buried, including the great Satchel Paige. We get this cool segment where the tour guide's telling him the stories about Satchel, and we get this real video. These really cool videos of Satchel and Jackie Robinson, and it's just a wonderful moment. And he says, the tour guide says, the Negro Leagues were glorious. They didn't do it for fame and fortune. They did it because to not play would have been unacceptable. Which, just a little line there to say, hey, it's not about the money. It's not about whether it's financially viable. You're going to chase your women's soccer team here.
Also, is there a gift shop?
Yeah, it is funny. Higgins' clear inexperience at having to deal with American history because he's a Brit, and wondering how he interacts with this man who's working at this museum when he has no idea.
Yep.
So he keeps apologizing for everything, and it's played for laughs. And of course, the tour guide's black, and he kind of plays along. He strings him along a little bit before letting him down, saying like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
By the way, the gift shop's right over here. Higgins tells the guide that their story is similar to women in England, and that's kind of what sets off the whole, oh, really? It was similar? It was much worse here. But the tour guide asks him as the scene is ending, when did women finally get to play soccer in England? He said 1971. He's like, dang, that's recent. Yeah, and so this is the thematic bridge that they're trying to show you. They're trying to, honor a Kansas City legendary thing, which is the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, but also this thematic bridge between the two of, hey, these were people not allowed to play who now they are allowed to play, and we're trying to make this work. The episode has explained to the viewer that women's clubs are still fighting for funding, still fighting for support, to be taken seriously. And the show kind of draws this line for you as just a through line. It's one of the quiet highlights of the premiere, and the actor Jeremy Swift, who plays Higgins, plays it with this real warmth, and it's awesome. It's just a great scene. We go to Dottie's yard sale.
Estate sale.
My bad. I don't know the difference, but
estate sale, you can charge more.
Yeah, I think we just say estate sale when we want to fool people into thinking there's upscale items at the garage sale.
Well, there was items from all over the world.
And Dottie is certainly doing that, as she is lying through her teeth about everything. She's having a yard sale, an estate sale, And which means everything, the whole place is full of the physical evidence of Ted's childhood. He's kind of wandering through it. Dottie, hilariously, is a great salesman, actually. The hardest part about sales is the lying.
It is.
And Ted grumbles as Dottie puts him to work to get things from the house. And he goes in, he comes across all these memories, but one of them in particular stands out. It's a memorial plaque honoring his late father's Employee of the Year awards, and sort of becomes like the emotional centerpiece of this sequence because it triggers a specific memory for Ted. And he talks to his mom about it, about how much he loved going to work with him, how much he loved when his dad would take him to work, about how much he loved it and how he loved the place. And Dottie corrects him. She says, "Teddy bear, you didn't love going to work with your father because of how it made you feel. You loved being around how his job made him feel. It's good for a boy to see his father do something he loves. Take the job." All right, Cody, I can tell by the look on your face. It's time to convene the Diamond Dogs. Cody, this is what the Diamond Dogs is for. A guy gets handed this one sentence that he needs to stop and think about, and sometimes we need the fellas to process, right?
Yes.
So I'm just going to ask it. Is Dottie right?
No.
No?
She's right that kids need to see their parents do things that they like to do and feel that their parents are important at their job. Mm-hmm. But I do imagine Ted really liked going to be there, be around all the people. And clearly Dad did not find fulfillment or complete fulfillment in that line of work.
It's a cheap kind of narrative trick they're trying to pull here when we know that Ted's dad clearly struggled with depression.
Yes, and that he was masking at that job site. And yeah, so that scene really undid a little bit of story arc for Ted and Ted's parents for me, and that was one thing I'm holding against the episode.
There are two giant stretches for the viewer in this episode, both having to do with Dottie or things she says. And this was the first one.
Dottie's a loose cannon.
And I feel like, yeah, it's because they ended the show and then had to figure out a way to bring it back and make it make sense. And that's tough. There's a real note of frustration here, of exasperation from Ted. The people who wanted Ted close by, Michelle, Dottie, are now the ones pushing him to go back.
That part also frustrated me.
And Ted expresses the frustration that the viewer might have. You were mad that he was frustrated?
No, I was mad that they're like, "Oh, you gotta go back." When everyone and their mom, including his mom, was like, "No, you gotta go to Kansas."
Well, I think that's why they put that in there, because they had to know the viewer was going to react that way, right?
Yes.
And so we're seeing Ted kind of be the proxy for the viewer, being like, I came back for y'all. But I do think there's an answer, a way out of this. I'll mention it later. The gang all goes to a KC Current game. It shows off.
I still haven't been to that stadium.
Yeah, but it shows off how special the team is. Like, by all accounts, I have not been either, but the Kansas City Current are one of the most successful women's professional soccer teams in the country. They've got a brand new stadium that's built just for them.
Only women's football club in the world to have that.
Yeah, Kansas City calls itself the soccer capital of America, and this is just a wonderful spotlight scene for them. You get like a couple references to Sporting KC, the men's team, but mostly it's the KC Current that get the spotlight here, and I think that's fair. All of it works to inspire Keeley even more, right? It plays out in the game. They're watching the Current score, the fireworks go off. She sees the fans all having fun, and you can just tell by the look on her face that she is fully in on this idea. She's fully engaged to it. Higgins, hilariously, also is wearing a KC Monarchs jersey throughout this scene.
Well, he went to the gift shop.
And got like the most expensive thing.
Yes.
Because he felt guilty. Ted tells him he looks like Mookie from Do the Right Thing. Which he says, thanks. And then the crew heads back to the airport to go home with Ted sending them off. Ted says his goodbyes. And then to Rebecca, I'm sorry you guys came all this way to not get the answer you were looking for, which is the first time he's been kind of resolutely given them an answer. He says, I got to stay put. This is home. And Rebecca, who's clearly still believing what she says earlier in the episode, which he'll take it, but he just hasn't yet. She says, sometimes home is just a state of mind. She's not wrong.
Yeah.
There's the place you come from, and then there's home. Those can be two different things. Rebecca does leave him with a parting gift. It's in a biscuit box, which is a nice callback. And then we get this, what I feel like is the best scene in the episode, as far as just true love and sincerity pouring through the screen. And it really has nothing to do with the show and everything to do with Kansas City. And it also leads us to our song of the episode. So first, this scene is a love letter to Kansas City, Cody. This whole scene. He's driving home after leaving the airport. He's seeing all the sights. Bartle Hall, the War Memorial, Children's Mercy Hospital even. Just all the things.
He is taking a weird route.
He is. But there's a deeper point to the scene, and the song is what clues us in, as often does when they use music well. And we know that Bill Lawrence shows use music very well.
Theme song.
Yeah. This week's song is Kansas City by the New Basement Tapes.
Oh, so not the theme song.
No. And the story behind this one is almost too perfect. So back in 1967, and many years, Bob Dylan filled notebooks with lyrics he never finished and never recorded. They sat in a box for 50 years. And then in 2014, T-Bone Burnett handed those unfinished lyrics to a supergroup. Elvis Costello, Marcus Mumford from Mumford & Sons, Jim James, Taylor Goldsmith, and Rhiannon Giddens. And he told them to write new music for these old words. So that's what they did. Mumford sings this one. As we can clearly tell, his voice is distinct, because I thought it was Mumford & Sons at first.
Sons were not a part of this project.
But think about what's playing over this montage over all the sites in Kansas City. It's a song built from words that somebody wrote and abandoned decades ago, finished by other people much later, about longing for a place. That's what the whole song's about. And Ted Lasso, the show, ended. It ended. Season 3 was supposed to be the end. The story was done. And here we are picking up someone's unfinished thoughts and pages and putting new music to them. Now, whatever you think of the first episode, that's what's happening. And I found this choice of song, the more I read about it too, being really cool. And it's just a little deep cut that Bill Lawrence is great at, telling you exactly what the song and what the episode is trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
At home, Ted opens the gift from Rebecca. It's tea with the message, let it steep. Let it sit a while. Don't rush this. So that's the meaning of, it's not the tea, because she knows he hates tea. But she's basically saying, hey, don't rush your decision. And Ted makes the tea, and he finally opens the door that he's been kind of toying with all episode. He almost enters this door a couple times in the episode before being distracted or called somewhere else. And it turns out that it's a little room. He has an office, and it's basically a shrine to his years at AFC Richmond. He's got framed photos of Roy and Nate, May flipping off the camera, which made me laugh.
May, you salty dog.
Beard and Jane's wedding, which Ted wasn't even at.
Yeah.
Right? Am I wrong?
I don't think so.
Earl the dog. Rest in peace. Roy celebrate. He's holding up a trophy. There's memorabilia everywhere. And this is, we see a man who has told everyone that his life is here at home, but he's got a whole room locked away in his house. And we've seen now in his heart that proves that his other love is 3,000 miles away. See, there was some deep things in this episode.
Was there?
Along with all the exposition. We do get a Trent Krim Easter egg in this scene, because buried in the memorabilia is a newspaper article by Trent Krim with the headline, Gracias Jamie Tart. And that's also a way to exposit that he's not in this season, because he was busy on other projects like Bill Lawrence's other show, Rooster.
Oh my goodness.
But he's in Spain, apparently.
Aren't we all?
Ted texts Michelle and he says, hey, crazy idea. What if we all move to London? She texts back immediately, a change of scenery would be nice, which is exactly what they said about Henry earlier in the episode when he was graduating from elementary school and with the weird principal, which is key because it's revealed that Henry is the one texting using mom's phone.
And it was at that point I'm like, no elementary school kid is saying those words.
And he also says, but she says yes too. And so the premiere ends where everybody knew it would. But I feel like it earns the trip. I think it does the best it can given the circumstances of what you had to do. It was clear this whole episode, the whole reason for filming in Kansas City was to do this one episode where we're like, there's going to have to be a lot of exposition. We're going to have to figure out a way that it makes sense for him to undo what he did in the season finale of season 3. Then he hilariously sips the tea, pauses, and goes, nope.
That's the correct reaction.
And then you get the credits. So, Cody.
And the theme song.
Yeah, they play the whole theme song as the end credit song. Who grew for you this episode?
Tyler. Because I noticed him stealing the cigarettes.
Yeah, it's not worth it, son.
I'm like, buddy, you don't need to be killing your lungs either. Just look at that old lady. But then he gets this fun moment with Ted in the break room staff locker area. And he then also gets the lesson of, I shouldn't be stealing.
Yep. I love that the manager calls for Ted, which clearly wasn't a part of Ted's plan, but he just plays with it.
Yes.
He just keeps going with the bit, which is perfect and on brand and makes me love Ted. But yeah, Tyler, son, your everlasting soul for a couple packs of cigarettes. That was an Oh Brother, Where Art Thou reference.
That was.
My who grew is you're getting a 2 for 1 because I'm going to say Michelle and Henry. As you know, they don't get a whole lot to do and say this episode, but I think about where we started from, where we ended season 3 with Ted getting on a plane and kind of sacrificing the thing he loves to do so he can be present with his son. That was the emotional payoff of that entire show. That was what everything led to, which is probably the reason you feel a certain way about it, Cody.
Oh, yes. Because the thing is, we have Ted Lasso, Wichita State football coach. We have Ted Lasso, AFC Richmond football coach. And in Kansas City, not only are there pro football and soccer teams, there's college football and soccer teams. There was so many opportunities for him to keep on keeping on like he did after leaving Wichita State. And so I have conflict with how we wrap this one up.
Okay, to be fair, coaching is a profession well known to dominate time.
Yes.
Most coaches will tell you it's a hard life for their loved ones. Even like high school coaches. I've seen people retire young from coaching high school sports because of that.
It is, but yet you would be in the same community.
But your conflict is noted and it's there. There's no getting around it. As we said, I think they do the best they can. But Michelle and Henry, this episode, are the ones who get to say, go. They're the ones who get to pack up their whole lives, their home, their routines, the lives they know to follow Ted across the ocean so he can do the thing that makes him himself. And that is growth in a family system, Cody. That's not one person always having to carry the sacrifice. And it's a family that's learning how to, be there for the other ones.
I don't know if it works with them being divorced.
That is another weird part. But you assume, okay, they're getting back together. That's going to happen, right?
Maybe, but you just highlighted coaching takes up a lot of time, and that doesn't leave much time for being with the ones you love.
If you follow the logic of everything in this episode, it does prove that by the time season 3 ends, it's not just Ted who grew, that Michelle and Henry had grown as well. And whether we think it's logical or not, that's what happens, and that's what has to happen so that there can be a season 4.
Yep.
I think we know. I think I know where you're going here. But how many biscuits out of 10 are you giving this episode?
I'll be super generous. I'll go 6.
Okay, that's super generous.
If you asked me after I watched it, it would have been like 4.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I would have given it a 7, but the Kansas City stuff bumps it up for me, which is totally just a our people thing.
I was going to say the Kansas City stuff is what got it over a 5.
Yeah, it's just a total subjective thing, but I loved it so much. I'm going to give it a 7.5.
I love Kansas. We're in Missouri.
I actually think this is going to be the worst episode of the season. I think you're going to see as the weeks go on. I think because I saw a lot of people reacting negatively to this episode, and I just kept thinking, like, we all wanted this show to come back. Most people wanted the show to come back.
It was a setup episode,
Yeah.
so like I'm not saying that I'm done with Ted Lasso. I'm just saying,
Oh, right, yeah.
this was a little rough, especially where we left off.
I think, and I guess what I'm saying is, I think that was to be expected. Now he's coming back, and we can start the story where they probably wanted to start it.
We're going to England.
What'd you guys think of the episode? We were mixed, but we're looking forward to the rest of the season. I'm looking forward to some Roy. I needed some more Roy in my life and some beard.
No Jamie.
No Jamie, because he's off being Jamie Tart for Spain.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you next time.